In this video, we are going to check for uniqueness of email or username. So if the email or the username is not unique, then we'll display an error message over here. So in order for us to do that, we need to set our rules. So over here will be dollar rules. So this one it will be an array containing what? Containing the username. So we are going to check and see whether the username is unique. So this one over here will be username. Then over here will be our array. The array over here will be unique. The table, that's the users table. Now copy it and paste it here. Also, we'll check for the uniqueness of the email. If the email is not unique, then we'll display an error message. The last thing that we'll do is that we'll check for the password. Whether if the password is greater than 30 characters, then we'll display an error message. So over here will be password. Then this one will be array. Then mass to be 30. And here will be semicolon. So this is what we have. These are rules. So what are we supposed to do? Comment on this one. Create new file inside your classes. Create a new file. Call it account.php. Open your PHP tag. So this one be class keyword followed by the account. Now this is what we have. So we are going to create three variables. The first one will contain an error. So this one will be private dollar errors, which is an empty array, a semicolon. Then we have private dollar pass, which is said to be false for now. Then this one be dollar private dollar PDO. So we'll use this one to connect to our database. Then over here will be public function underscore construct. Then over here it will be dollar this keyword how notation PDO is equal to database colon connect then semicolon. So now this is what we have. Okay. So in our register.php over here it will be dollar account how notation check. This check method over here is two parameters. The first one being the data that we are getting from the super global variable. So this one be dollar underscore post. And the second one being our rules. So this is the rules, then semicolon. Go to your init.php. Remove this one from here. So this one be dollar account equal to new account. So there is it. Now go to your account.php. Account.php over here it will be what? Public function check. The check method takes two parameters. The first one being the source, the second one being the items, which is an empty array. So this is what we have. Okay. So what are we going to do? Let's do var underscore dump dollar source, then semicolon. Let's go to our browser, just refresh it. enter in something over here to enter in something, here to something, here to something. Now click on register. So the source over here contain our data, as you can see over here. The items contain our rule set. So if we do var_dump items, just refresh it. As you can see, this is what we have. Okay. So we are going to look through using for each to get the rules. This one before each dollar items as dollar item. Then this one be dollar rules. They also have for each dollar rules as dollar rule. Then arrow notation dollar rule underscore value. So now let's echo dollar rule. Okay. So now just refresh it. So there is it. The uniqueness, the mass. That's the rule, right? Okay. And the item, if we echo the item also, what are we getting? We are getting the email, the username, and the password, right? That's what we are getting. So to get the value, it will be very simple. The value over here, it will be dollar source, which is our super global variable post. Which one? Which is this one? Then the name field, which is dollar item. Then dollar item is equals, let's escape it. And this one be dollar item. Now we are checking to see whether the value, which is this one, if we echo the value, we'll get the data that the user entered. If we echo the value, we'll get the data, which is this one, right? Okay. So what are we going to do? We are going to check first, if not empty, dollar value. So if the value is not empty, then do this one over here. Then over here, we are going to use switch dollar rule. So the first rule I want us to check is to check for what? Whether the mass, that's the first thing I want us to do. Whether the mass, so this one be case mass column. So if strip length trim, so the trim over here will move space before it and space after it. What do I mean by that? The trim over here, so if there is space before this one, the space before here, and there is space after here, the trim will remove that space for us. Then we'll check and see whether it's greater than the rule value. This one is value. This one too is value. Okay. Is it? So if it's greater than this one, then this one over here it will be what? Dollar days, power notation, add error. We have not created this method yet. We'll create it very soon. So this one be item mass be a maximum of the rule set rule underscore value characters. Is it? Then we'll break it. So let me indent it well so that it look nice. So now let's create this method, then continue from there. So before we create this method, what I want us to do is that over here, still inside the for each, over here, we'll say if empty dollar days our notation errors, then what are we supposed to do? To be dollar days our notation as is equal to true, then semicolon. Okay, so now let's go and create this method. So over here it will be public function add error dollar error, then this one be dollar this our notation errors, which will be an empty array, then inside it will be our error message. So this one be dollar error, the one that we are getting this message, we are adding it to this one. Then over here will be public function errors, then this one be return dollar this our notation errors. We also have public function pass, then this one be return dollar this our notation pass. Is it? Okay. So now what I want us to do is to go and test this logic and continue from there. That's what I want us to do. So over here we check. So if dollar account our notation pass, what it means is that if there is no error, right? If this one is true, then do what is here. Cut this one from here and put it here. Let's indent it well, right? And let's move the comment from here. This one to remove here from here. Then this one too. Okay. So what am I trying to do over here? I'm trying to check and see whether the account there is no error. So if there is no error, then insert in the data. So we'll get the data, then insert it here. Else, if there is an error, then this one be dollar forms error is equal to array underscore merge. Then this one be dollar forms error, and this one be dollar account our notation errors a semicolon. So let's see over here. Let's make this one 7. We are just testing to see whether our logic is working fine. So let's refresh it. So over here, just enter in something. This one to enter in something over here. This one to something over here. And this one enter in something which is greater than 7. Now click on register. So as you can see over here, password must be a maximum of what? 7 characters. So meaning that our logic has worked fine. So let's make this one 30. So now let me click on it again. Right. Now the next thing I want us to do is to check and see whether the username and the email is unique. This is the username and this is the email. So if it's not unique, then we need to display an error message telling the user that this username is not unique or something like that. So that's what we are going to do. So we are going to consider another case. So the case that we will consider is uniqueness. So the case will be unique. And this one will break. Then what are we doing here? So over here is what? We'll get two things over here. We'll get the item and the value. That's what we'll do. We'll get the item and value. Okay. So let's do it here. Okay. So this one be dollar, or let's create the function first. Let's create the function first over here. So this one be private function user exists. Take two parameter, that's the item, then dollar the value. So over here, this one be dollar statement, which is equal to dollar days, hour notation, video, hour notation prepare. So what am I trying to do over here? I'm trying to select from the users table where the item is equal to this value. The item can be either username or email. This one will be select all from users where what? Where item. So this one will be, this is the item, right? So where dollar item is equal to colon dollar item. And this one be semicolon. And this one be statement, hour notation, bind param. So this one be colon dollar item. And this one be comma dollar value. And this one be PDO colon colon param underscore str, which is the string. Okay, so now this is what we have. Then over here will be dollar. So now what are we trying to do next? I'm trying to count the number of rows. So this one be dollar statement, hour notation, fetch. So first we need to execute. So there is it. Then this one be dollar statement, hour notation, row count. So this one over here will allow us to count the number of rows. So if the row count is greater, let's check over here for now. Let's check. So if row count, statement, hour notation, row count is greater than 0. So if row count is greater than 0, meaning that there is something inside, so return true, else return false. What am I trying to do? We are checking to see whether the user exists. So this contain the item and this contain the value, right? So there is it. Okay, okay. Now this one too, I want us to escape it because there can be some error somewhere. Okay. So now here, okay. So here, what are we going to do? If user exists, dollar item, comma, dollar value. So if this is true, this is a method inside this class, so we need to use this keyword. So this one be dollar, this our notation user exists, which is this method. So if this is true, right, you display an error message. So this one be dollar, this error notation add error. The item already exists. The item can be the username or the email. So now let's go and test and see whether our logic is working fine. In order for us to do that, right now, if we click on it, click here, we are not getting anything because we don't have any data in our database. So assuming that, okay, so let's insert in data. So click on admin, go to your Instagram account, go to the users table, click on insert. Over here, inserting some username over here, dummy username. So let's say Ama, the email to ama@gmail.com. Now click on go. Okay. So now we have this one over here. Correct. So now refresh it. So this one will be what? ama@gmail.com. And this one too is ama. And this one is some dummy data. And this one too is some dummy. Now click on register. So as you can see over here, username already exists. Username already exists. So meaning that our logic has worked fine. Because we want the username, the email to be unique. So that we'll be able to verify the user, and also the username over here can be a unique ID, right? That we can use to what? Fetch record, right? So that's it for this video. In the next video, we are done with the validation and the sanitization. In the next video, what we are going to do is just register the user. That's what we are going to do in the next video. Okay. So see you in the next video.